Hello, this is Faith at House Fraud Homestead again. I would be outside, but it's a little bit chilly today, so I am having a snuggle sesh with my Louie, my 14-year-old old man here, on my lunch break. And I thought I would just come on today and give a little bit of an update on what results I've seen with the sort of responsiveness over responsibility journey I've been on for the last few weeks, and kind of recovering from burnout and overcoming burnout by leaning into what feels antithetical to progress, and sort of my thoughts on what might be necessary as a culture to get out of a vicious cycle of over extraction and over exhaustion and overproduction in some cases. So, for the last 2 weeks since I've stumbled on this realization that I have kind of topped in terms of what I'm capable of producing without artificial inputs, I have stopped. I'm getting kneaded, so it's pokey over here. If I grimace, that's why. Well, you can stay. You can stay. I've For the first week, I did not set an alarm, or I set an alarm and I ignored it. And the second week after that, I compromised with myself and I said, I will only set an alarm 3 days a week, and I'll do my self-care-ific morning routine, which had previously consisted of yoga and meditation and reading and all the stuff they tell you to do to, be that girl or whatever. And that I would sleep in the other 2 days a week. And I found that in this season at least, my body just wants to fucking sleep. So I decided for this last week that I was not going to fight that. I did not set an alarm all week. I have one fail safe in place so that I don't miss my 8 a.m. stand up meeting on Monday. But other than that, I have found that if I let myself wake up organically when the sun comes up, I get just as much done. I'm rested. The animals get fed a little bit later, but not a ton later. No one has seemed distressed in any meaningful way by it. And the thing that's blowing my mind is that the ADHD like symptoms I'd been experiencing have way calmed down since I've relaxed my schedule a little bit. And I don't know if it's just a fact of like enabling them or what, but I've found that when I impose a schedule on myself, what I'm basically doing is fighting with myself. Because on a day-to-day 24/7 basis, I am receiving cues from my environment about what needs to be done when. And if I try to impose a structure on that, what I end up doing instead of all those things is overthinking about the order in which those things need to be done. So that I have found is just paralysis and guilt and feeling like a failure every day, fundamentally, because I made this promise to myself and I didn't meet it because it's basically trying to serve two masters. I'm in one ear, my, I guess, intuition, if you could call it that, is screaming at me to do this, do my life in a specific order according to which cues organically arise one at a time, and this other one has this long structured to-do list. At one point I had my to-do list structured by every 15 minutes. So that kind of tells you how far gone I was. But what I've done is just kind of set myself some very loose guardrails and some loose, almost like a menu instead of a list, of things I would ideally like to get done that day. And what I found is that if I just give myself this menu and this list, I eventually get around to everything. The way I've kind of thought about it is like a bingo machine. Um, Bingo machines only really work. They're a jumbled clusterfuck on the inside, but if you are patient, bingo will eventually be hit. It's a random order, it's unpredictable, and you might do a lot of non bingos first, but bingo will be there eventually. If you stick your hand in and try to find B1, B2, B3, B4 in that order, you're going to waste a lot of time and energy trying to get all your ducks in a row when if you'd just been patient with the organic flow of things, you might have hit bingo already. So that's kind of been my experience for this last week, is finding that if I don't impose this rigidity on myself, I'm taking in one at a time environmental cues, I'm addressing them, I'm getting that immediate dopamine hit, and that keeps me going. So I'm off to address another environmental cue. It's not the most efficient. Like, at one point I told myself, I will do all the chores on one floor so that I'm not wasting time walking across the house. I waste time walking across the house now, but I don't have 1,000 competing priorities anymore. If I get this cue that, oh yeah, this thing's gotta be done, I will walk across the house and take care of it and it's done in 2 minutes, instead of, oh no, I'm going to put this on my list and get distracted by my phone and I'll come back to it later. I never come back to it later, I just have a bigger list. So, yeah, it's scary to go down this trajectory when you've been a productivity nut for a long time, because it feels like the opposite of progress. It feels like you're backsliding, it feels like you're unproductive, unmotivated, and you're enabling yourself, basically. But I'm finding with time that the solution to any given problem usually lies just outside the realm of the unthinkable. And for me, it was unthinkable to have less structure. Anytime I failed at a structure, I told myself I needed more structure, and I couldn't be trusted, and I needed discipline. And I just beat myself over the head with this for years. But now that I'm kind of letting the unstructured part of me run the show, I'm frankly amazed at the fact that I'm not really falling behind. What ends up happening is that the lowest priority items fall to the bottom of the list. I might not get to them, but I usually end up determining that they didn't really need to be done. And they don't haunt me into the next day, and I don't have this growing backlog of stuff that I didn't get to. So the way I had my chore set up was they're organized by weekday, which I like that structure. But I had gotten into the habit of, I can't go to bed until I go through the motions of this chore, even if it doesn't really need to be done, to say I did it. And now I'm treating those appointments, and as much as you can call them appointments, checkpoints in the day, wherever they happen to fall in the day, as opportunities to take care of the thing if it needs to be taken care of. But a lot of stuff I'm finding I can do about half as often, and no one fucking notices. Like, I've chilled out a little bit about having crumbs on the floor. It's and this might all just be a function of me overcoming some self-imposed OCD tendencies that I'd enabled for a while, but I don't feel like more of a failure for giving up on structure and doing fewer things. And this is something I hope to impart to my viewers, because I am a proponent of degrowth as a sustainability measure. I don't think we can hustle our way out of the ecological consequences of hustling. So, degrowth to me starts at home, and that starts like lowering expectations for output and for consumption, because that's the other thing that's changed. I haven't wanted to buy stuff. I haven't been desperately searching for biohacks and supplements and quick fixes to get myself to this next level so I can function. When I'm living organically like this, I don't feel that itch, that urge to solve this problem by buying something for it. Very few of the problems that present themselves to be solved to me require me to buy something, I'm finding. And usually, when I feel required to buy something, it's when there's an external pressure that I need this thing to get to this level so I can pull off this thing for somebody else. And I'm fortunate to be in a position where I don't have a lot of people counting on me to be a specific way at a specific time. This would probably not work if that were not the case. But I'm still able to work full time. I'm still able to run a team. I'm still able to be on time to meetings and such. I just am pivoting a little bit more gracefully around those few fixed items and not fixing things around them. So if my flow, my routine is, make the bed, scoop the litter boxes, do the laundry, that kind of thing, and a team meeting happens in the middle of that flow, then when I'm following this organic structure, I find that I don't lose my place when I come back to it the way I used to. When I have this clusterfuck of imposed structure and environmental cues, it became much more necessary to leave reminders and notes and more environmental cues to not leave things half finished. So I wish I had found this mindset, I guess, sooner. I'd have spared myself a lot of stress and grief. But the takeaway is that just relaxing those expectations for myself, I'm saving money, I'm getting more sleep, I'm as productive, I think, and I'm less of a stressed out bitch, which is pretty cool. So, highly recommend just attempting some facet of this as much as it can work for your expectations of yourself and others' expectations for you. But it's been remarkably successful for me so far, and this will be the woo components that you can skip over if that's not your thing. But I'm wrapping up my Saturn return at present, and I have Saturn and Aquarius in the fourth house, so home life, things like that, and my North Node, which I've been told following your North Node traits is the way to get through a Saturn return with minimal damage, is in Capricorn. So I've been trying to get myself prepared with, okay, the only way to get through this is with discipline and structure and being a hard ass, basically, because, Saturn and Capricorn, that's kind of what the themes are. But the lesson I'm kind of learning from this chapter of my life is not to make an enemy of organic flow. And that's also enabled me to trust myself more and trust my instincts and trust that I am responsible and I'm not this child I need to babysit and put guardrails around because I'm just going to fuck off if I don't have that expectation. I'm pretty good about getting done in a day what I need to get done if I let myself do it in my own time. So that's been healing in some ways just because I'm not berating myself all day long. So maybe this is all just, congratulating myself for lowering the bar. But I think if degrowth is to start at home, it's got to start with being realistic about what you have to offer and use in the way of resources and energy, and not expecting so much of yourself that you have to artificially prop yourself up, because that's how you get into unsustainability. So this has just been the trend for me lately. I'm probably going to continue going down this path and just see where it takes me, but so far very good results. Highly recommend Tragic push brooms help with that too. So this is kind of like the integration process for those. But yeah, hopefully this speaks to someone, and I will try to be back as we're wrapping up for the winter in the garden. I'm going to try and do more of those indoor videos like the health journey thing and gut healing. Um, that's gonna be most of it for now. I'll probably do a winter planting dome tour thing at some point. But I'm enjoying these philosophical things. That's kind of where I'm at right now. So hope they're doing something for you guys too. If you guys have any thoughts on this, feel free to leave a comment. And if not, I will talk to you soon. Bye.